Welcome back to the LoCo Experience podcast. My guests today are Joshua and Angie Grenz, and they are the founders, owners, and operators of Verboten Brewing and Barrel Project in Loveland and the recently new Verboten North Brew Pub. And wow, I said it all correctly.
Good job. It's a mouthful.
Yay. So let's start with how long in Fort Collins now with the North location?
Oh, we are right at
Almost a year.
10 months in.
Okay.
11 months.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 months in right now. So,
And how is the addition of food to the delivery of services?
I tell you.
I mean, you had food before with
Yeah.
pretzels and
Yeah,
stuff.
just
mostly.
snacks.
Pre-made
but-
snacks, yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing like
it's-
this, not a kitchen.
Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love. I think you have to love having food,
Yeah.
or it is your worst nightmare. So,
So you do love food, though, it sounds like?
I do love food.
I love your menu. I've really enjoyed
Yeah.
several of the sandwiches I've had and the
thank you.
pizza. So, good
Yeah.
job on that. And that's
you.
relatively straightforward, right? It doesn't take a genius to put it together.
Yeah, no.
Well, not that you don't have geniuses working for you. You probably do.
No, I tell you, if it was left up to me, I'd probably try and do something way too bougie and crazy, and then we would
Right.
be
And
broke
nobody would buy it
in
and-
month 3. Yeah, so
It was crazy. My wife and I were just at, have you ever been down to the Sand Dunes recreation area?
oh
No.
no,
It's kind of close to Sand Dunes National Park, and we're a Hot Springs fan, so the Joyful Journey we've been to down there. But Sand Dunes has like a community pool with all these kids and old people and stuff. But then they have the greenhouse, which is like kind of like the High Hops Brewing kind of
Oh,
space,
yeah,
the
nice.
greenhousey kind of space or whatever. So it's just this gorgeous place. But they've got a bar, and then their kitchen is putting out like crab cakes and really good
Oh.
sesame crusted ahi and really kind of bougie
that.
stuff for like north of Alamosa, 40 miles.
yeah, with
Wow.
nothing much around.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was really proud of them actually, and they were not overpriced. It was like
Yeah.
they're giving those citizens a little chance to have some nice, culinary delight.
Nice, yes,
Yeah,
it's
we'd
important.
We'd love to check that out.
Yeah, go down
Last
there,
time we were in
you'll like it.
Chicago, we went to, I'm blanking on the brew pub that's a Michelin star.
Oh, Moody Tongue.
Moody Tongue.
That was a fun
Oh,
adventure.
interesting.
Michelin star brew pub.
So
wow.
you talk about like the
Getting good at two things.
yeah. Well, and a simple pizza menu all the way up to a Michelin starred tasting menu. It's fun to see where
This is where?
breweries are going.
Chicagoland?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have aspirations to get that started? Maybe never quite
No,
that far.
no. I would just like to
That'd be
consistently
that's a lot of work.
have a decent product that people enjoy having alongside some beers.
So let's talk a little bit about the new location, especially now that you brought a couple of IPAs in, which is one of the things
Yeah.
I remember we talked about, Angie, that when you moved to Fort Collins, you realized they like a lot more IPAs.
Yeah. Actually, at first we thought, well, we're going to make this kind of an extension of Loveland. And then pretty quick, we're like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a different space and it needs its own focus.
Yeah.
And so we happened to be vacationing in California, and Josh was drinking all of these great Alvarado Street IPAs, and we went to
In Carmel.
Yeah.
There's one brewery in Carmel,
Okay.
and more than half their taps were hop-focused beers.
Yeah. Like Sweetheart used to be.
yeah.
Kinda.
And it was interesting just because, he just never got sick of it. He drank IPAs the whole time.
That's
and
my
so,
wife, honestly.
Yeah, and so we know that the popularity of IPAs isn't going anywhere. But then we got to thinking, really, it's something that we already had a great brewer, Kurt. He's done IPAs for Peculiar for a while, and is just really talented and very passionate about them.
The art of the hop.
Yeah, but we had him in Loveland doing everything else but IPAs, and so we got to thinking, it'd be fun to kind of change our focus up there a little bit and make Fort Collins more focused on IPAs, and he's slowly but surely been doing that, and now it's been exciting because I think we're really starting to draw people in with some of his IPAs.
Nice,
So we're
nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
and I mean, we had 20 taps, and so we're still doing other styles. But
Sure.
we're going to have 8 to 10 of those will be hop focused.
Okay,
So anywhere
okay.
from pale ale to
Sure.
West Coast,
That's awesome.
pilsners, hoppy pilsners to
Well, and
all the
your
range of the IPAs. So
roots is really kind of doing what we want. with
Yeah.
beer,
Yeah,
right?
right.
yeah.
Josh, maybe I'll let you chime in a little bit. You were homebrew before
Yeah.
you guys started. Is that true?
Yeah, homebrewed for years. Involved with the homebrew club in Loveland, and yeah, that's just kind of how I got started. I grew up in Fort Collins,
Okay.
so New Belgium, Odell, were there when I could start drinking. So
Right.
I've always been, into the beer culture and loved the beer culture, and we were doing beercations, and so yeah, it was just that was the start, and yeah, we just had our 12th anniversary last weekend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed it.
Loveland,
Oh,
Ah,
shucks.
it was fun.
We got all the
actually,
anniversary beers still.
I was out. We were on a big road trip, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
So, well, and I remember like some of your early brews, and I think they're still on, or like a Kentucky style, and just some kind of more obscure kind of recipes, if you will.
Yeah.
Talk
yeah.
to me about that. Was that like by design, or
Yeah, that was by design. So, my brewing style was using, doing different things, using different ingredients, and Angie came up with the name Verboten, which means forbidden, which is based upon what was forbidden in Germany to use by law. They could use 4 ingredients in beer: water, malt, hops, and yeast, and everything else was illegal. Verboten, forbidden.
Yeah,
so it was just a focus on spices, fruits, obscure styles, barrel aging, specifically spirit barrels, which was also illegal. And so that all kind of fit into not only my brewing style, but what we like to drink.
Yeah,
and,
Yeah.
yeah, I like to drink the weird stuff.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel fortunate, New Belgium, especially New Belgium, Odell too, but especially in New Belgium, we're doing all these obscure styles, Belgian styles with fruit and spices, and
Yeah.
of course they've been
This
doing
is
that
before
in
the sour
Belgium.
thing kind of came along.
Yeah, of course they do that in Belgium, but that was kind of new to me and to northern Colorado and to Colorado specifically. So we were kind of focused. It also allowed us to on that, but it also allowed us to just move and be trendy,
Right.
or follow the
Yeah.
trends.
Yeah. You've
in
got no
beer
limitations,
and
right?
be innovative and all those things. So we just wanted to be innovative and kind of take people. The time we opened and take people to the next level. So we were like, we're not converting people from Budweiser. I think that's already been done
Yeah.
in northern Colorado, and those that like Budweiser, that's fine. No problems with that. But people that are looking for like kind of the next experience in beer,
Yeah. Yeah.
the next flavors in beer beyond. They already had switched to craft beer and microbrews,
right.
and we're in that scene. And we were like, let's take that a little bit further, but then let's keep going. Wherever that takes us just allows us to be innovative and different. Yeah.
I was around during, I moved here in '99, and so like 90 Shilling and
Yeah.
Easy Street Wheat and Sunshine, had a dominant
Yeah.
or a growing, but a dominant share of that
Still love
craft
those
market,
beers.
and they're still good beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the variety really started to come in with some of those smallers, and of course, New Belgium was doing some of that. And I know Dell's from the start,
Yeah.
but it really, they were leaning on those flagships, and so you'd see them on all the handles. And then about the time you guys came on the scene was when, the restaurants with
Yes.
good beer scene started coming and all that.
Beer bars.
Yeah. Choice
beer-focused
City,
bars.
all of these places. Yeah. And it's funny because when I was not a beer drinker when I moved here. So when I, married Josh and started drinking beer, I didn't start with Budweiser. I started with Odell, New Belgium,
Yeah,
Linden, Brewing on
Sure.
Linden Street.
Yep,
and
yep.
these were these amazing, full-bodied, robust beers that I was drinking. And so, I cut my teeth on some good stuff. So
Fair enough. So tell me a little bit more about the North location now. It's I'm very familiar with it because it was
Yeah.
the former Black Bottle Brewing, which was one of the most recent, the last bank loans I made was to
Oh,
help
yeah.
Sean open Black Bottle Brewing back years
Yeah.
ago.
yeah.
World.
Well,
Yeah.
we heard the space was going to come available, and we're immediately interested because we had been looking for a while for a second location. Our debate was where was the best spot for us. Going down to Denver seemed overly difficult.
A little too complex.
Yeah, yeah. But coming up to Fort Collins kind of felt right because he grew up here.
Yeah.
We spent the first 2 decades of our marriage in Fort Collins.
Sure.
So, I've been here
You had a lot
forever.
of community connections through Style Magazine and all that.
Yeah. So we knew a lot of people. And so when we heard it was coming open and it also was a fully built out brew house,
Right.
it just kind of made sense.
Does a license come along in a situation like that, kind of, or
It can.
it's easier?
Yeah, it can. What we did is we took the license for a short period of time while we applied for a new license, and then we moved everything over to the new license. So, but it's a brew pub license versus what we have in Loveland as
Right.
a brewery, manufacturing brewery. So, 2 different licenses that we now hold.
Yeah. Does the brew pub mostly, as I understand it, requires some of that food element?
Yeah,
some 20-25% or whatever.
It's 15%,
Okay.
which is kind of cool because it's 15%. That's not a ton. It tends to be more than that naturally.
You can still distribute a bunch of beer
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of this cool license though because you don't have to have the kitchen open all the time. You're not under the same
Really?
requirements as maybe a tavern
Oh, interesting.
or a restaurant. Yeah, so we can open or close the kitchen as we want.
Huh.
So
It's like, okay, the food truck's here from this time, but
yeah.
it's not the rest of the time.
Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as 15%.
Yeah, as long as
Yeah.
you're hitting that number.
Yeah.
Is that like a monthly measure or?
yeah,
Okay.
15% of your monthly sales.
Yeah.
So
So kind of built it out in a kind of modern, trendy compared to
Yeah.
your South.
Yes.
Your Loveland location is a little more,
like
I don't
Colorado
know,
Brewery.
industrial-ish. Yeah.
Industrial, yeah.
That's our old building. I mean, the building was started in the 20s and
Yeah.
finished sometime in the 30s, added on to, so it's got old brick and industrial to some point, but
Yeah.
also an older building with a totally different feel where this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Yeah, and this
much more
was
modern.
a newer building. And then we went in, and Black Bottle was so dark, and so we really just wanted to brighten it up.
Yeah.
We also knew that we were going to be offering spirits and wine in addition and food, and so we wanted a space that felt a little bit more.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of a 415 vibe.
Yeah,
from
yeah, a
back
little
in
more
the day, at
community,
least.
but
Yeah.
a little less pigeonholed right into the it's a brewery.
Right.
feel. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
So, Josh, why don't you tell me about this? I guess this isn't your recipe. This is your brewer's recipe now.
Yeah,
is
this
that
is our
right?
brewer's
So
recipe.
this
but-
is the better use of mind.
Yeah, better use of
Hazy.
mine. Hazy IPA, hazy juicy IPA, and this is just kind of a current offering. And what Kurt's doing, what he wants to do, and we're in agreement with is just rotate them for now and kind of let our customers pick,
See which ones really catch
see
on.
which ones really stick, and then maybe those will be, the year-round offerings.
And are
right
you guys
now, so-
canning on location all the time?
Yeah, we finally are. You know, we-
I know there used to be those like canning operations that would run around
Oh,
and
yeah.
can you up a
Yeah.
few kegs or whatever, but
Yeah, no, we inherited a canning line that was the 5th one built by a company in Denver called Wild Goose. And
Okay.
It was the 5th one built during COVID.
Mm.
So it was, when breweries shut down overnight,
right.
they wanted canning lines because they had to get beer out.
Right,
and
right.
That was the only way to do it. And so this was an affordable machine relative. They're all expensive, but this is a relative machine where it fills one at a time. But built well, but it was in disrepair. So I've just been working on it. We've ran our first successful runs there this last week. So
Okay.
actually, a lot of these, including this one that we brought today, we had to take to Loveland and use our canning line there.
Oh, so you've
Yeah.
been canning for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have been canning the stuff there for a little bit, but we had our first successful runs just on Friday
Oh, wow.
there.
Okay.
So just getting the machine up and working.
Well,
So,
thank you. I
yeah.
feel very
Yeah.
honored.
Yeah, we're trying to get pretty much everything you can take to go in a can. That's
Yeah.
won't be everything just because logistically that's
Sure.
tough. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be most everything that he's putting out and brewing there. You can get in a can to go.
That's a nice little. I suspect that has become a pretty popular thing, as people will have lunch and a beer, with their wife or something, and then grab a 4-pack to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
That's a nice little add-on revenue-wise to the ticket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything is so highly limited right now. We don't make huge batches of it that, if you like it, you get to take it home. You
Get
may
it
not
now.
get to see it again for a while.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, and it's interesting when you guys first launched. The growler was very much the scene,
The
right?
vehicle,
Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I
people
still have,
come and
like,
buy a couple
50
beers.
of them in my basement.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm down to like 5 now, but I use them for my kombucha actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
But I imagine
did.
that has gone, like, once the Crowler came along, breweries kind of focused more on that. I think easier
Yeah.
labor wise, and you didn't waste so much product because the Growlers were always like
Yeah.
overflowing and
Yeah.
spilling and
And
Waste a lot
sometimes
of product, and sometimes they come in dirty.
dirty, yeah.
And they're dark, and you can't
your beer tastes like crap
see 'em,
because
and you
they
just
have a
happen
bunch
to-
of crap in the bottom of the
Yeah,
Growler.
inspect them, and so we stopped.
Yeah.
We still fill them. We will fill them, and we'll do our due diligence to make sure they're clean. But we stopped selling them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do everything in aluminum. I mean, we have we got on the Crowler machines, kind of when those first came out,
Yeah.
which at this point has been
years
I don't
now.
know,
But
8 years ago or so.
Yeah.
thing is a workhorse, though.
Yeah, so we got one of those at each location. So any beer you want, you can take in that.
Yeah.
And then we're just doing more of the
Yeah.
the cans,
More
the-
varieties.
Yeah, 12.
Well, I think that's
16 ounce package.
one of the trends that's changed really since COVID Nation in some part is like people drink more at home than they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be kind of this verboten thing. Then it's like, well, we can't go out. I guess
Yeah.
we'll drink at home.
It is true. We definitely see that there's a lot more packaging going out, packaged beer going out. So
Yeah. That kind of ebbs and flows somewhat. I think kind of immediately after COVID, people couldn't wait to get back in the
Yeah.
tap rooms. But they were drinking at home, and so it's kind of a mix. It's kind of a mix. A lot of people wanted to get back and be social, and we definitely have that crowd too. But a lot of people enjoyed
Yeah.
just drinking it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That liked being alone, and that's there was a few weeks I wished I could have just hunkered down and not seen people.
Right.
But we still had to work.
I wonder what the aggregate is like if you took
Yeah.
like all of the kind of hospitality industries, especially the
Yeah.
restaurants and bars and taverns and stuff.
my guess is that the people that used to go out a ton now stay home a little bit more,
Yeah.
which then puts a dent in the restaurant
Sure.
industry.
Well, I think they DoorDash.
Yeah, they
more,
DoorDash
a lot more,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
But then DoorDash gets 20%
I always say this.
or whatever.
I mean, we're door dashing a lot because we have a ice cream shop 2 doors down from us in Loveland, and people DoorDash ice cream, and it kind of cracks me up because whatever that pint of ice cream costs you normally, you're paying
Right.
25% more to have it delivered to your house.
Right.
But they do it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's
Yeah.
half melted. No,
Right.
maybe they put it in a cooler.
But it's definitely part of our lifestyle now is ordering in, which before it was it was pizza.
A rarity. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pizza when you did it.
Yeah.
Yep,
And now it's all over the place. So.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the operations a little bit. So you've got a brewer in Fort Collins and then another brewer in Loveland. And Josh was the brewer, so now he just kind of dinks around. Or what's your
Yeah.
job, Josh? What do you do for
just
Verboten these
whatever.
days?
I mean, I'm janitor, the maintenance man.
Yeah, supply
That's
coordinator.
Mostly what I do. Yeah, operations, supply coordinator. I keep everything moving in production.
Gotcha. So you're ordering materials a lot of times
Yeah,
and stuff
ordering
like
materials,
Yeah.
keeping it going.
Filling in holes where
head
there's
up-
labor
Right,
needs.
yeah, head up all QC. Basically,
Jack of all
final.
position.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it just got so busy with everything else that I just couldn't. What I loved and what I still love is get my hands dirty and brewing, but I got to do that up until COVID, and then it was just time to kind of to reshift that and
Yeah.
focus in on the business part.
You
and-
don't do it ever, even just
Yeah,
for kicks?
I'll jump in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he does. When he wants to make a certain beer, he gets in there and makes
And
that
gets a
beer.
fresh
Yeah.
idea. He's like, okay, I'll let you know
Yeah.
when I've got it brewed.
Yeah.
That's usually, I mean, honestly, those are the beers he's really passionate about. Those are the beers that we oftentimes will meddle with
Yeah.
because he just gets an idea in his head and has to see it through.
And how many medals have you guys had so far?
Oh, well, we've had 2 GABF
Okay.
medals.
Yep. Which for who? Killer Boots?
Our
No?
first one was Little Nonsense.
Barrel aged imperial stout.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's and
That was
then
early.
Yeah.
and then our barley wine, which seems like we're
Yeah.
on a hot streak with that right now. the World Beer Cup. So ours the big ones. I mean, there's a bunch of small ones, but the two big ones I always think of: Great American Beer Festival and the World Beer Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there's like the U.S. Open. That's fairly big competition. A few others, but
Yeah.
those are the big ones. But I think like the World Beer Cup, we have 7 now.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. A lot for our barley wine and for our barrel aged and dark
And
beers.
stouts.
Yeah, so that's why Barrel Project is such a big part of,
Yeah, it is.
especially. And can you get those Barrel Project beers up in the North location too?
Occasionally, yes. Right now we have
When
Mountain
we don't
Man.
sell 'em too fast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have Mountain Man in cans, which is what we took our first major medal ever. Was
The
we
World
were-
Cup. That was our first World Cup medal.
Yeah, at a year and a half old. So
Okay.
that was so exciting for us, and so we bring that one back every so often.
Is that a barley wine also?
It is.
Barley wine light is like what
Yeah.
I like to call it. I mean,
Okay.
technically it's English strong ale. So
Oh yeah,
think
Yeah.
winter warmer.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
High ABV, but yeah.
Yeah, but not quite a barley wine. Somewhere in between.
Yeah.
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 Not quite breaking stools
Yeah.
over your friends' head.
Right.
But
No.
almost.
Barley wines aren't really. I mean, one of the sweet things about barley wines is that they are so sweet
Mm-hmm.
that, at least for me, who's not really a sweet connoisseur,
Yeah.
a barley wine kind of restricts my desire to go back for another sip, even though I love it. Like I just don't have that craving for a next sip
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of love that style.
Sitting by a fire,
Yeah.
it's like a port wine in some
Yeah.
ways. To me.
Correct. Yeah. It's really. I mean, it's the strongest beer that the English made, and so yeah. I mean, it's a winter beer. I mean, it's they were making it in the winter time, and it would survive a long time because of all the alcohol, and I think it's underappreciated style. But it's definitely kind of an acquired taste, special occasion. It's not an everyday drinker. It's not a lawnmower beer. It's not a
Yeah.
shower beer. I mean, you can,
Yeah.
but it's funny. There's a whole entire group on Facebook called Barley Wine is Life. And yeah, our brewers, he posts on there quite a bit. But
Yeah.
it's funny because there's a thing called like barley wine chugging.
Oh.
Actually opening a can and chugging the whole can.
That'll change your day.
I like
yeah.
barley wine, but I've never done that. I like to sip on it.
They're usually like 11% or
port.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah, double digits and up.
Yeah.
I mean, ours are our regular ones. The lowest is 11, and the highest has been 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
made.
And Angie, what's your? How would you describe your job
Oh,
at
what?
Verboten these days? If Josh is kind of operations
Gotcha.
overseer,
I'm the pencil pusher.
kind of the back of the
I-
house,
Yeah, the
finance,
number, yep.
admin, HR.
Yeah, all of that. And then I definitely kind of am leading the gap between the kitchen and the front of house right now. Kind of helping both of those at North. So it's a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I'm definitely usually the one behind the scenes for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How much have you learned?
Oh gosh, so much. I mean, we're learning every day. The restaurant portion is always something new that's a challenge to figure out. Between managing menus and food costing
Yeah.
and staffing. So it's kind of like its own little worlds. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just thinking about that. Like, a restaurant will have a manager, right? But that's with all the revenues of the restaurant can pay
Yeah.
that manager when you've got a 15% or
Yeah.
22% or 27% of your revenues.
Yes.
Like, you can't have like a whole
Yeah, it's
full
not
time
a
chef like
big
figuring
enough
out
money
your
maker.
restaurant.
Yeah, to have its own human that just runs it. So
Yeah.
yeah, but we have such an amazing team there now. I think that's the biggest thing that we've learned is that, you got to have the right people in place. And now we have a front of house team and a back of house team that work really well together. That's also a hard thing to accomplish. It took us every bit of the first year to get that team in place that works so good together.
And get a new culture.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, such a defined culture in Loveland, and we know what it is.
Yeah.
And here we thought that would be easier to
And
figure
yeah, it was
out,
challenging.
but it was
Yeah.
challenging to find what our culture was based upon our staff.
Well, I mean,
and
I
our
imagine
building and what we were doing.
like in Loveland, you're one of the OG breweries, first of all,
Yeah.
right? And you got a great reputation. Everybody knows about you. You're right
Yes.
downtown. You're kind of like the cool kids all want to come
Yeah.
work for you there. Here in Fort Collins, you're like, what's Verboten?
Yes. It's funny. It's and Loveland. It is very true. People want to work for us, and people trust what we put out. And so I don't want to say we don't have to work hard, because that's a big thing to a big standard to keep.
Right.
But as long as we toe that line, people come to us.
Right.
Moving into Fort Collins, we have a good reputation, but we still have to prove ourselves.
Sure,
And so
sure.
we've really tried to focus on not just having great beer, but having great food and having great cocktails and having great wine. And it's the learning process has been that sometimes we miss the mark on the way we do something, because it's not our
You're newer at this
yeah
part.
yeah
yeah.
But I think
We
that
still got great beers.
Yeah,
We got great
yeah.
cocktails. We know that. Yeah.
But I think that we continue to learn from our mistakes. So I think that we've elevated things as we've gone along. We have this great kind of hidden gin program that people don't necessarily know about, but the ones that do come in for it pretty solidly. We have 30 gins on.
Oh boy.
And they can come in, and we serve them differently than other people do. We serve them more like a European gin bar would. We have the garnish and the gin, and then the tonics on the side, and they can kind of mix
Oh,
it themselves. Yeah.
Oh,
Pick your
that's
gin,
fun.
pick your garnish,
Yeah.
pick your tonic.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
interesting. Like with herbs and stuff.
Yeah,
kind of?
we have all kinds of we
Oh,
have
fun.
And some suggested. We have some suggested ones too.
yeah, we can suggest a pairing, or people can come in and play.
Huh.
And so it's kind of fun.
My the chef of the restaurant where I first worked in college, the first restaurant I worked at, the Granary, Maurice. I hope you're still with us, but I kind of doubt it. But Maurice was a really big guy, and after his shift each day, he would have a skip and go naked at the bar before he went home. Do you know what that is?
No.
You could offer this. This is a nice drink. Josh, I'll let you put the recipe together, but it's give or take 3 shots of gin in an 18-ounce cocktail glass. Maybe I guess it's just sour, like a gimlet kind of limey kind of stuff. And then top it all off with Bud Light. From the tap.
Wow.
So you got
Is that the
basically
naked part?
a beer and 3 shots of gin in an easy drinking
Wow.
vessel. Oh, with ice.
With
With
ice.
ice. Yes.
All right, I'm going to go back and make one of these today.
It'll make you skip
Yeah, we
and
got
go
a
naked.
Pilsner.
Yeah.
A Pilsner should work. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll get back to you on how.
You might want to decrease the
I was gonna say
portion
the
size just
gins-
a touch.
The gin can.
Yeah, I really doubt you could skip much after that drink, though.
No,
I don't
well,
see any
Maurice was
skipping going.
300 pounds,
Skip.
340 pounds.
Oh, it's
maybe.
like a memory skip, like your memory.
Yeah,
skip.
more
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Usually he would just have one and go home, and I felt comfortable. But if he had a second one, you didn't know what kind of conversation we were going to get
Yeah,
out to with Maurice.
Be a wild.
Yeah, 6 shots
night.
and 2 beers.
But he taught me a ton. Like
Yeah.
so much of what I actually know about cooking in a restaurant
Yeah.
and whatever is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about Verboten South now a little bit.
Alright.
Like that's the barrel project.
Yeah.
That's the more traditional tap
Yeah.
room, I guess. Right.
Yes, definitely more traditional, more experimentation as far as just always doing something different there, kind of always looking for something fun to do. Yeah. I
Keeping
mean,
that innovative
yes,
notion.
yes. And it's always fun. I mean, it's so much about beer knowledge and new styles and experimenting.
When I've been in there, I've met a lot of people that are there all the time, and it's
Yes.
obvious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a lot of,
I mean, we
lot of
have-
regulars. We have a lot
We have
of
regulars that are there more than we are.
I'm
we have
sure.
a lot of people that met there that now are married, and,
They
and
come
a lot of
once a
friends
week
that hang
still.
out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do other things together
Yeah.
now. And so, I mean, that's what's cool about tap rooms, and that's what's always been fun.
Yeah.
And the culture of tap rooms.
And 12
has-
years
has been
of
that.
community there is amazing. Like 12
Yeah.
years of, getting to know people. And so we have such a history there now that it just makes it's really a special place. I think it's just such part of the community now that it's just, it would truly be missed if we weren't there.
Yeah.
We just, we're a place that people meet after work. We're the first stop that people go to celebrate something.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that
Yeah, if somebody's having a bachelor party downtown Loveland, you're for sure one of the stops.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
No question about it.
Right.
and our employees are part of the people's families now. They just know them so well, and so that's something that it's a tight weave down there, and so we really love that part of it.
Yeah. Josh, what's the name of this one? the West Coast?
Oh, this is Give Me Time.
Give Me Time.
Yeah, just West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
Pretty classic West Coast.
I would say both,
so-
like your hazy and your West Coast, are pretty mainstream. Very
Yeah.
good
Yes.
within that, but not shocking in
Yeah,
any particular
yeah.
fashion. Do you have a favorite? Favorite
Yeah.
one over the other?
Well, I mean, I like hazies.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I drink more hazies. It's you know, when I find that West Coast that I like, it's just my mood. I mean, I'm a hophead at heart. Like, you know, people always ask me, I'm surprised you haven't yet, what my favorite beer is, and my answer always is the beer in my hand. But what I get after, you know, shift, long day, usually something hoppy. A lot of times it's a Pilsner, something light, but
Yeah.
I always go to hoppy. If we're visiting a brewery somewhere, I'm always going to try whatever hoppy they have on. I just love the difference in hops, how it can change just a base beer style and be so different within that style.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same malt in it, same yeast even, and then the different hops, how different that beer can be where everything else is the same. But
At the greenhouse there that I just described to you, the two most popular orders from me and Jill, she was getting the crank anchor, and then I was getting, I think it's called like Epic Day. Yes, a double IPA from the same. Is it Buena Vista? No, Eddie Line.
Eddie Line.
Eddie Line Brewing Company. They do pretty good work down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they make great stuff.
Yeah, Jill was like, she hates double IPAs and Imperials usually because they're too sweet for
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
But that one she was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, you be careful with that. That's
That was actually the
8.5%.
first IPA I liked was a double. So that cut my
Interesting.
teeth on craft beer and IPA. This was during the hop wars when Stone and everyone, you know, Stone Brewery and everyone out of California was just who could make the most bitter
The most over the
hoppiest,
top.
like the IBU wars, you know, it was the IBU wars, International Bitterness Units signifies how
The
bitter
contest.
the beer is.
Right.
So they were just trying to go higher and higher and make the most bitter thing and who could get more bitterness out of it. And it was kind of a joke because your palate can only taste so much bitterness anyways.
Right.
It could be
It shuts down for
it could
its
be
own
90
protection.
IBUs or 5,000 and it's not going to taste any more bitter. So it was a lot of just waste. But it came up during that time and it was like, man, this stuff is taking the varnish off my teeth right now. And it wasn't that enjoyable. So it wasn't until the double IPA where that sweetness, where it wasn't just all about bitterness, it was that little bit
Yeah,
of sweetness
yeah.
back into it,
Yeah.
that I was like, okay, I actually like this one. And now that, you know, fortunately that's changed. Everybody's brought it down and got it to a level that's more approachable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like IPAs now that are being produced are just they're so much more enjoyable. I feel like we're coming to this really great spot with IPAs where we understand what we're doing. People know what to do with hops now and how to treat them, and so the product overall is just so much better.
Yeah. I would agree. Like it's become refined.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not the Wild Wild West anymore, which I kind of enjoyed parts of the Wild Wild West,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there was some real
The shock
not
value
so great
is
sometimes,
not
yeah.
as important to people. They want more drinkability out of what they're enjoying.
And what's next for you guys? Are you like, well, Fort Collins is stable, let's do a third location? Or is that something you think about ever?
No.
No. I don't know. Josh and I, we just
Just trying to keep this going.
we're focused on just continuing to make everything run smoothly.
Yeah.
Josh and I love to travel, so our idea is more to get everybody where they need to be and
Yeah.
happy, and then check out for
If
a
we
little
can
bit.
make a little money
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have you guys just pretty much take care of it,
Yeah.
that's kind of the goal.
If it can fuel our travel a little bit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and we got to get that point. I mean, we've learned you got to invest in your people and
Yeah.
and make sure that they're good. And you can't just be checked out on them.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Yeah, if
working
the
on the
owner's
next step
checked
now
out,
is like,
it's hard.
Yeah.
our next step now is just making sure that everyone is in a good place that works for us. They're happy.
Yeah.
We take care of them. They're comfortable enough where they don't need us day to day, and we could actually take, and travel a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we, that's the dream.
Have you guys traveled much lately, or
well-
with this new location, probably not so much?
Not in the last year since we opened the new location, but my sister is getting married in Italy. So for our 1 year anniversary for the Fort Collins location, we're having a big IPA festival. It's our Hopiversary.
Yep.
We're going to have 20 plus IPAs, most of them ours, but then
A few
Several
guest taps
guests.
too.
yeah, several guests, actually, probably half and half. And then the next
Nice.
day we fly to Italy
Oh, boy.
for,
Okay.
for my sister's
Whatever
wedding.
devastation
and-
is left
yeah,
over.
yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that'll
dig
be
it.
our first big trip since we opened. But
Well, that's awesome.
I was
though.
gonna say it's just been a year, so
I think that
we
was
can
my
handle
promise to you, is to make sure this episode comes out before the Hopiversary.
it. Yes, yes.
So what's the? It's Saturday.
It's Saturday, April 26th.
Okay.
It'll be open to the public. You can walk in, but we also have a VIP session that will kind of have its own hour to try everything, and
It's
then
ticketed.
after that, it's 4 and 8 ounces. Come in and try what you want.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
Kind of old school beer festival.
yeah,
kind of
yeah, a
thing.
little bit, and yeah, it should be fun.
I like it.
Yeah, it's,
Parking lot party a little bit too.
Yep,
I
yep.
dig
Some DJs, some food. It'll be fun.
Awesome. And then what? A week? 10 days in
2
Italy?
weeks.
2 weeks. I love it.
We're actually we're gonna go to Italy and then
we'll
Belgium
be
and
on-
Germany.
yeah.
So
Oh wow.
yeah,
We'll be on Sardinia for the wedding.
So it's a work trip, at least the part
then
where you're in
Belgium.
Belgium and Germany.
Yeah.
now that we own a
Those are
business,
write-offs.
everything is a work trip.
As
One
long
way or
as
the
the IRS
other.
isn't listening right
Yeah.
No,
now.
we're going to end at the Frühling Fest. I think I'm saying that right.
Frühling?
I don't know German.
Frühling,
Frühling Fest. It's the spring beer fest in Munich.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Dig
it's a miniature Oktoberfest. So
Oh.
like
Yeah.
Oktoberfest, it's like a fourth of the size
I like it.
of
Yeah.
Oktoberfest.
But you can still get
Basically the same thing.
33 ounce
Yeah.
Yes,
boots.
In the big tents and the music and all that.
the
so,
whole thing.
I like it.
that's, We haven't got to go to Oktoberfest. It's a bucket list item for us, but we thought, we got to go for a wedding.
It's a mini
and this
Oktoberfest.
is happening
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
anyway. So so that'll be.
We'll ease
love it.
into the.
So yeah, of
big
course.
one.
Like I said, it's a beercation.
Well,
we do
I'm
beercation.
confident you'll come back to a sustainable operation, and maybe it'll even work better and give you more confidence.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I said, our team is so awesome. They'll have it. They're great people. So
I dig it.
yeah.
I am feeling like we might want to jump back soon,
Mm-hmm.
but let's go ahead and have a short break because me and Josh are both emptying our beer.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Hi, this is Clint Jasperson, Managing Partner at Purpose Driven Wealth. We believe financial clarity leads to a life of contentment and purpose. Our mission is to guide clients through the complexities of wealth management, retirement planning, and legacy using a values-driven, stewardship-based approach focused on provision, contentment, and enjoyment. With more than a century of expertise through Thrivent, we offer tailored strategies to help individuals and families achieve their goals and embrace generosity. Whether you're navigating a life or business transition or planning for the future, we're here to partner with you every step of the way. To learn more about Purpose Driven Wealth, call 970-330-7411.
And we're back.
Uh-huh.
And so what I want to do, because I think I got acquainted with you guys just after you opened,
Mm-hmm.
probably way back in the day on Talus Court.
Taurus, yes.
Taurus Court.
Yes.
Yes.
Strong
and
like
so
bull.
let's go back to like a year before
Mm-hmm.
you opened Verboten. Was it even an idea yet, or had you been planning it for years?
It was.
What was the
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been working on it for a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Looking for the right location.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds crazy now, but we were living in Fort Collins. We were looking all around, but specifically in Loveland because we thought Fort Collins was oversaturated with breweries.
they
This
hadn't
is
seen
probably
anything yet.
going on 15 years ago. now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, why did we think that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like, well, Loveland has less breweries, and there was a distiller across the street from this space, and he was a friend of ours, and he's like, hey, this building is available. You want to
Yeah.
come look at it? And
Was that Spring 44?
no,
What was that?
Dancing Pines.
Dancing
Okay,
Pines.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Long gone,
Yeah.
sold to Family Jones.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Now in the building there on Taurus Court.
But yeah, it seemed like a great kind
Yeah.
of marriage to have us both in this little bit more industrial area. Maybe we'd
yep.
both bring people in, and so yeah, we started thinking about it. He was obsessed with the beer. I just wanted to own my own business, and so it was a good time. We didn't have anything to prevent us. We didn't have kids, so
Yeah.
there wasn't that concern.
If you go broke,
Yeah,
well, I can
yeah.
just work along.
Us and the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what were you doing, Josh, at the time?
I did IT for a small company.
Okay.
I was a hardware guy, so
Okay.
I would fix broken hard drives and memory issues.
And did they do that
rebuild
for customers, or
computers.
you
I
did that for their company?
I did that for this company. It was two of us. It
Oh,
was a
gotcha.
two-man shop.
Okay, yeah.
And
But you did it for other companies, like
yeah, we did
Yeah.
it for other companies. So
Yeah.
kind of that, 3 to 15 employee range.
Right.
Where you would need help, something breaks in-house, even a printer. I was kind of the hardware guy.
Yeah.
And it was a great job. I really liked it. It was a leap. I worked a lot from home. I enjoyed the job. I could go out and play disc golf or golf.
You were kind of on call.
Take a
so-
long lunch. Yeah, on call, but after work nights, and I didn't mind that so much. And so it was a nice job. I liked that. And so even when this came up to do this, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna trade like a job I was working 30-ish hours, and I'm gonna go to 60 to 80.
yeah.
This is that was the hard leap, I think.
Are you really
And-
sure?
Yeah, and I was making decent money.
So was it your
relative.
drive, really? Like he was homebrewing, and you were like, "I'm gonna go ahead and ride this pony."
Probably. Yeah. I think if I hadn't been like, let's do it, let's go for it,
Yeah.
he'd have just stayed as a home brewer.
And I love beer enough. I was like, all right, yeah. I mean, I could make beer. And it was gonna be
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun. She's
Yeah.
gonna work on the business part and the unfun stuff.
Yeah. And what were you doing at the time?
I was editor for our LoCo Style magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been like a freelancer for them for years, then went on as editor. So, yeah.
So that was your background, was kind of writing, content
Yeah.
creation, things like that.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
the brand, this old growler from literally probably 12 years ago or 11 years ago or something has been my water bottle
yeah.
Medicine
here
bottle.
at the office for a long time.
Yep. I remember when we had a couple that we started the brewery with, and I remember I would just send off lists of words and name possibilities, and
Oh, interesting.
yeah, and then Verboten was the one that everybody kind of gravitated towards, and that we could build a story
Oh,
around.
so you started with another couple at first?
Yeah, we had another couple.
Okay.
They ironically had a young child, and so about a year and a half in, they realized that
Hey,
the
these
workload
60-hour
was.
weeks.
It
are
wasn't
not-
all fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's
You didn't
No.
start making a bunch of money
Yeah.
right away.
No,
I
there
talk
were.
to new business owners, new brewery owners, all the time. Like, don't forget, this is still a business. Like,
Yeah.
you have to work hard at this. There's still money involved, and
Yeah.
brewing, and there's a lot of fun to it. But there's a lot of things that aren't fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to embrace both.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and
Be
like,
prepared for both.
how much did it cost? Like, you had a relatively
Yeah.
affordable location,
Yeah.
couple of,
I mean,
things.
I feel like we got into it for right around 100,000 at the time.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty low, but we
Yeah,
started
yeah.
with a 3-barrel baby
Oh, gotcha.
brewing
90
system.
gallons
Yeah.
at a time.
So now we're at a 15-barrel, brew house in Loveland, and
Still have that 3
yeah, we still have the 3-barrel.
That's your
Still
experimental
sees
thing.
to
Yep.
action, yeah. So,
But yeah, so it wasn't a huge.
it wasn't a huge
Capital thing.
capital investment, but it was a lot of time and energy.
Sure.
And I feel like that's the thing that trips business owners up sometimes is,
Yeah.
I mean, you can come up with capital. Sometimes it's a
Right.
pain, but you can come up with it.
Yep.
But putting in the hours, that's a whole different animal. And I feel like that sometimes is where we lose people.
So you stayed as editor for the Style for a while
Yeah.
too, right? Like
Yes.
You were doing both.
Yeah, we had an agreement with the other couple that Josh would be the first to go full time and I would be the last to go full time.
Oh, okay. Because you had a job.
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
More.
But
She had a
we,
paying job.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we ended up buying them out at about 2.5 years in.
Okay.
And so when we bought them out, then I came on full time to help. But
Yeah.
then, like throughout the years, I've gone back to working full time for my old job. You do what the business needs, and
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
it needed me to go away.
If you need to hire somebody to do
yeah,
something.
yeah. If it didn't have the money
well,
for me, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I think that's a great kind of tip of the hat toward the sacrifice that can be involved with launching
Yeah.
a business and even for running it for
Yeah.
a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at businesses that have been there for a long time. I have a huge respect for them because, it's never stagnant. It never stays the same. And so you have to roll with the punches over and over again. And
So what was your drive to have your own business? Was it because you were in small business? Because you grew up in a family like that?
I think I grew up in a family like that. We had
Okay.
a family that was, crazy. Never had a set schedule. Always doing different things. If we went on a family vacation, we decided the day before to go
Right.
because my
Things
dad.
are kind of quiet right now. Let's go.
My dad had his own business. He had several businesses, so I think that that drive to kind of drive my own ship too. Like
Yeah.
I really like to be able to be my own boss,
Yeah.
and so I always like that, and I like the idea of building something. I mean, that's the thing that has kept us going. Is Josh's love of what he did and my love of watching it grow and seeing it be successful.
Yeah.
That is huge to me.
That's the people, it's the numbers,
Yes,
it's
the whole
all
thing.
of it. Yeah.
When it comes together and it's like important to people, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So did it catch on right away? Like
No, I mean,
it was a rough location.
yeah,
to be
it was a rough
honest.
location. So when we bought out our business partners, we also moved.
Oh.
And at that time, we moved to downtown.
Yeah.
So as we were shut down
Oh,
for
wow.
5 months, it was
Well, and you had to find some
scary.
capital
Yeah.
both to buy them out
Yeah.
and to build out this new place and
Yes,
stuff.
thank goodness
Right.
for real estate. We sold a house,
Mm.
and the proceeds we were able to use to kind of help the business move. And,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
And when
we,
was this?
this was we shut down in
2016.
2015 and reopened in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
And so you had a period of time.
Yeah.
Did you have wholesale production going
We
or anything
were-
at that time? Or
We
you
were
brewed a
contract
bunch? and-
Brewing.
yeah,
Okay.
Snowbank,
Snowbank now.
Okay.
which is now
Timnath is
Timnath.
in that
Yep,
location.
yep.
They were doing our
I
contract
remember
brewing.
when they were doing some contract
Yeah.
brewing for a while.
I mean, we were barely hanging on there for a minute,
Is that
and
right?
yeah, and because the industry was changing to where the tap room was your moneymaker,
Right.
Like wholesale that could supplement it, but really your money was made in the tap room, and
So you had to have a cool place.
yeah, and moving downtown, we kind of always felt like that would match us better, anyways. We love the history, we love the people, we love to be around.
Yeah.
The downtown vibrancy.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and so anyways, moving there, but it's still, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was really sustainable until right about the pandemic. I think things
Right.
changed a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I think after the pandemic, downtown Loveland really activated in a way that it hadn't before.
Yeah.
And so people, instead of leaving town on the weekends to go to Fort Collins for dinner, they were staying in Loveland,
Oh.
and they were starting to really see some new businesses
Yeah.
come in, and so that I think
I remember
was,
that about Loveland during the pandemic.
Yeah.
There was a lot more kind of, not to, insult Fort Collins or the chamber here or whatever, but Loveland really
Not at
bonded
all.
together in a much different way.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
just
I mean,
was.
they got us heat.
They
those
paid
heat
our
lamps,
rent.
the patio.
Oh,
They
Paid our
for 1
rent
year,
for
1
a
month, they
month.
paid our rent
And
through a
propane tanks
Yeah.
and propane like a stipend per
Yeah.
month, and
They really
they're
worked
really
hard,
awesome.
and they also
they paid for everything outside, all the patio space.
Yeah. they also kept events going in downtown through the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
So they had to be, of course, outdoors, but they kept out live music going,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think it just meant so much to the community that after that, downtown Loveland was a different animal.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I think we didn't. I mean, we saw a lot of efforts and a lot of changes, and
Yeah.
tents where you could eat outside and stuff like that in Fort Collins. But it wasn't the same kind of
Yeah.
we're all in this together kind of vibe.
Yeah. And then maybe it's because Loveland's downtown is smaller, so
Yeah,
they could do
So
that.
yeah, more approachable.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of. Yeah. That makes sense. And so. When did you kind of come back into full time? Were you there working a little bit for
Yeah.
a while, or did you?
No, so from November 2019 until what was it, 2 years ago in May, I was working full time for LoCo Style magazine and part time for Loveland. tap room, and did that for a minute. Then May, I was like, I can't split my brain and my energy this way
Yeah,
anymore.
too hard.
So I left the magazine. I just freelance occasionally for them now, which is fun. But I came back to Loveland, and then about a year later, well, less than a year later, we're deciding to
Yeah.
open a second location.
Well, it was kind of like, well, I got
Yeah.
there's enough of me. I got a little more of me now.
Yeah.
You know,
I kn-
where I was super spread thin as a 1/3 time
Yeah.
employee.
And I think once you start a business, you have this drive to start like 3 or 4 more.
Right.
So we were thinking a second location might be kind of cool, and I was like, and to be able to do something a little bit different that
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, pulls in some of my passions too. I do love food. Josh and I, food is a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
So we love to cook. We love to go out to eat. Anyways, to be able to do these things was really exciting.
That
And
fed
yeah.
your creativity a
Yeah.
little bit more than
Yeah.
just
in a
how do we
different
im-
way.
how do we
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
incrementally improve the Loveland location.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's a lot. The entrepreneur song.
Yeah.
Is at some point an entrepreneur wants the next challenge.
Yeah.
A little bit. And maybe they're whatever they're doing is always a challenge, but
Yeah. You're always
some
cursing
just-
yourself.
Yeah, you're just
in the process.
So we just felt
Yeah.
like this was like the next challenge. Like, what's the next challenge after being in this? At that point, when we started thinking about it, it was 10 years or 10-year, and it's like, yeah, what's the next thing? What's the next challenge for us? And,
Yeah.
and
Fine
so
dining.
That's kind of was fine dining.
Fine dining, get that Michelin star before you're
Yeah.
50.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Another restaurant maybe.
Just restaurant only this time.
I kid. We're getting old though. That's the problem.
It is,
Yeah,
and the
before 50,
energy
I
doesn't
got
quite like
a
where
month.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah, we're both courting 50. So
Are you? Yes.
Uh-huh.
I just turned last summer,
Did
so
you? Yeah. So
it is true that you don't quite like the idea of 60-hour weeks now.
Yeah.
Like starting,
Yeah.
38 is a lot different, or 39 or
It
whatever.
is.
38
than
when we
50.
opened the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like kind of the swan song of the 60-hour week
know.
willingness kind of thing.
yeah. No.
So let's do like if your key employees that have been with you the longest,
Mm-hmm.
if they were here in the studio and I asked them, what do you think really sets Verboten apart? Like why have you been here for so long?
Well,
What would they say?
I feel like they would say that the beer is really great and
Yeah.
that they travel and they see that our product is really amazing, but that also it is a family endeavor. Like we never say that if we took a medal it was because so and so made one great beer.
Yeah,
We always think like we took that medal because all the things aligned.
the team effort
The
was
team
there.
was happy, and so the brewer was happy, and so
Yeah.
we had the ability to focus in a really great way in that moment in time. There's just never been a moment where everything was falling down around us and we still produced a medal winning beer.
Yeah,
It has always been that everybody was kind of in this really
you're in
great
your
space.
groove, kind of.
Yeah, and I would say that they would say, and I've heard them say this, we share the same passion for the industry.
Yeah.
And that they appreciate that we're around and that we're interested.
Yeah.
And that we're
Yeah.
there.
Invested.
Yes.
Invested, we're not just off in the scenes, asking where the money is.
Yeah.
Driving your Mercedes around.
Yeah.
and fancy trips in Europe
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
No, we still come back, and I mean, there's no job in either space that we wouldn't do if we were called in to do it. And,
Yeah.
And I think that's means a lot to them
part of
too.
the culture.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
I should work hard because Josh and Angie work hard. And,
Yeah.
And they care about people,
And-
and so I should care about
Yeah,
people.
I
And
think
all
that
those things.
that's important.
Lead by example.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Let's go to little Angie first. Because I know, Josh, you were born and raised in Fort Collins. Is that true?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's true.
So I know that part already because
Yeah.
we stumbled on it.
yeah.
Where's little Angie at?
I come from West Virginia.
West
of all places.
Virginia.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Oh, was it Kentucky Common? Was that
Yeah.
unusual brand I was thinking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
There? So West Virginia, that's
West Virginia,
real in the city girl of
Yeah.
West
Borders
Virginia
Kentucky.
or real country girl?
Real country girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, one of 5. But I think I mentioned it. My dad, he owned several businesses. He had wanderlust like you wouldn't believe. I think, it was only my mom that kept us in one place. He was like, let's move to Belize and let's move to this place I read
build
about.
houses
And,
in China. Yeah.
When I was 16, he tried to get us to move to Estes Park, ironically, and start a business there. And
what were these businesses? What was he in construction or retail?
Well,
or?
he buys and sells used equipment. He had a trucking business for a while. And then he was going to build log cabins for a while. He did a little bit. And, he has a short attention span.
Yeah. Kind of a dreamer type a little bit.
Yes. And so I have a fair share of that in me.
Yes.
I love the idea of a new challenge. I can't sit still for very long. I get bored pretty easy.
And you were one of 5, and where in the order?
I was the second child, first girl.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So also
the most responsible the whole time.
Yes, also the boss when they weren't around. So yeah.
Yeah, when I met her, it's the first time I went to the house. You turn on a road, dirt road. It's called Next Road. You drive a few miles back, and then there's this log cabin on 35 acres in the woods in West Virginia. So give you an idea.
Yeah.
Country girl for
like
sure.
chickens and critters and
yeah,
stuff
all
too.
that. But we also like wild children. We just wandered wherever we wanted, and
With bare feet and like chasing
yes.
raccoons and whatever else.
I mean, her older brother he'd go for days. He'd just go into the woods and
Yeah,
be gone
just
for
wander.
days, and then
yeah.
Interesting.
But
sometimes he'd get so far he'd have to call home and say, "Come
Yeah.
get me."
Yeah.
it was great though, because we were
Yeah.
all like creative in our own ways, and
For sure.
And so I did always want to be this journalist that, was reporting on whatever.
Telling stories about all the cool, interesting things
and
around and stuff.
And so that was just something that stuck with me for a long time. And then I always wanted to own my own business and drive my own destiny. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, what did that look like as you developed into a young lady? Like, were you a good student? Were you?
Yes. I got a scholarship to go to West Virginia University as a journalism major. Did that. Met out of school, graduated. Then a couple years later, met Josh through mutual friends.
Okay.
When he was in Ohio, and so at the time I thought maybe I'd move to like Pittsburgh or another city. I had a big desire to go to a city. And then instead he lured me to Fort Collins. So
Well, and we'll come back
It's
to
easy.
why you
like,
were in
yeah.
Ohio, but just have her visit once. And
Yeah.
You're like,
Do you want to move to
Hey, check it
Colorado?
out.
Yes, she said instantly.
so Josh, give me the circumstances of your youth, if you will.
Yeah, grew
Yep.
up in Fort Collins, actually LaPorte.
Okay.
Um,
Oh yeah, so which is
my
kind of like
mom's
the West
still-
Virginia of
yeah, West
northern
Virginia,
Colorado.
Northern Colorado. Yeah. It's as close
Love
as
you,
can get.
Laporte. I
Yeah,
would move there
uh-huh.
if I had a chance.
Yeah,
Even I'm on Laporte Avenue. Even
Right.
oh yeah, his mom's still.
It's Spanish
still out
for
there?
the port.
the port.
My mom still lives in the house that I grew up in.
Oh, cool.
My dad died, 20 years ago now, but he grew up in Wellington on a farm,
Okay.
and so he was a farm boy at heart. And I think he always hated, living in
Had to have
not
some
on a
dumb job and
farm,
live in a
yeah,
house,
yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah,
have
I
any
don't think
chickens
he-
or goats
yeah,
or anything.
Oh well, we had chickens, and
Okay, well.
goats, and rabbits, and ducks,
But not a real farm.
on a
All in the
pretty
backyard.
small house in LaPorte. And so I was in the area a long time and had family here and middle child and graduated high school, Poudre High School, and
Were you-
went to Front Range.
Good kid too. Front range didn't get a scholarship or anything.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was gonna be a musician. So
Oh, really?
I mean, I still
Like
still play in a
the
band.
guitar?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna be a rock star. And
All right.
that didn't happen. Obviously, I
He
wouldn't be
sings and
talking
plays
to you
guitar.
now.
Okay.
I still
That's
do,
important.
but-
Yeah.
yeah, so I thought that was going to be what I was going to do, and that didn't turn out so much. But so when I realized that was
So how hard did you push at it?
I mean, pretty.
We had a band
Oh
and
yeah,
we
we had
tried
a
real
band.
hard.
Yeah, we tried.
Jimmy
real hard.
quit.
That's exactly.
Jody got married.
Yeah, that's exactly.
something like that.
That song. That's exactly what happened. So yeah.
So you
ended
went to
up-
Ohio and met
Yeah, I
this
went to
girl?
Ohio. Met,
For
it was-
what?
It was just
Well-
like a
Like,
summer.
what-
He
We
drove
went-
a beat up
Yeah, me and-
Chevelle to Memphis.
Yeah, me and a buddy.
Oh, okay. So this is part of the music dream still.
Yeah,
and
music
Memphis
dream,
was
yeah,
like,
me and a buddy.
meh.
Yeah, he played drums and I played guitar and sang. And
Okay.
we drove his '67 Chevelle to Memphis, And long story short, we ended up in Ohio. He had some family there, and we needed money, and they had a job for us in the summer. And
Right.
so we worked for his family during the summer in Ohio, and we were on the other side of the river, of the Ohio River, and the Ohio side, and she was on the West Virginia side
I
of the
see,
Ohio
I
River.
see.
So we met through
You
friends.
just see this
and-
shorty across the river,
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
something like that. Yeah. She invited me to a hockey game, and then the rest is history.
You're like, well, good. I don't really have a place to stay or anything soon.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, look how.
I was just a meal ticket.
yeah. Him and I were living in a room on his grandma's double wide trailer. That's where we were. So it was
It's an
uphill
interesting
from
first
there.
date
Yeah.
scenario.
It was glamorous.
And
was-
what
it was uphill from there.
what was alluring to this young wannabe musician?
He's asking you that
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Oh, what was
Yeah,
alluring
yeah.
to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I mean, this has been 30 years ago.
I think I know the answer.
I'm sure you still
No,
remember.
I always tell people Josh could dance.
Oh,
He could dance.
interesting.
I grew up in Colorado.
He could two-step.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in Colorado, in LaPorte. So
And he was funny.
I'm
We
from
could-
North Dakota.
we could
We have
two-step.
the North Dakota no step there. So I just
You do a shimmy.
yeah, shimmy, more of a shimmy. My feet
Yeah.
just stay in the same place,
Yeah.
and I
No.
just move other stuff. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. I wouldn't have guessed you to be a good two-stepper
Oh,
there,
in
Joshua.
LaPorte.
There's
Yeah.
depths to Josh. You
Yeah, I
wouldn't
don't
know
doubt it. I don't
from
doubt
the-
it. But
Yeah, LaPorte in the late 80s, early 90s, you had to two-step. That was just the rules.
What was the country bar?
swing station.
Sundance.
Sundance.
Oh, sure.
You,
Oh, yeah.
We went dancing at
Okay.
at the Sundance. Yeah.
So you meet up. It's summer. You kind of decided the Memphis thing wasn't going to work out, and then you talked this girl into moving to Fort Collins with you or something.
Yeah.
Ish?
we dated in Ohio for about a year. Then he got homesick and came home and drove a school bus.
Okay,
for-
you bought a schoolie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drove a school bus.
Okay.
Wanted to get my
Yeah.
CDL.
Oh, I
Yes.
see. I see.
Yeah,
I was
yeah. He
gonna
was.
get married and need a real job.
Right, right.
So I'm gonna. I
Interesting.
like driving stuff and
Yeah.
running equipment, so
Yeah.
I got a CDL, and that was the
Okay.
easiest way to get into that. I went on to drove school bus for a year, but then I drove
Budweiser.
semi truck for Budweiser.
Yeah.
That was my first
Okay.
experience in the beer world.
Up here.
Right
Yeah.
after we were first married, I drove.
Interesting.
Drove, and delivered Budweiser here in northern Colorado.
And what was your circumstance in life at this time, Angie? Were you graduated from college,
Graduated
or you were
from
dating this guy,
college.
and then he
Yep.
moves away? Were you
He moves
heartbroken?
away. Well, he moves away. Then he comes back to visit, and we get engaged.
Oh.
So then I made the decision to move here
I see.
to Fort Collins. I brought along my little brother. He moved
Interesting.
with me. He was 18 at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just we drove. Josh flew out. We drove us across country.
Yeah.
And then my first job was for was waitressing, and then I got a freelance job for a little now defunct newspaper.
Which is the Bullhorn or the
Community
Spectrum?
Forum.
Or okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with that
Yeah, so it was around for maybe 2-3 years.
one. Okay,
And then ironically, I had started freelancing for NoCo Style way before I ever
wow.
became editor there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I freelanced for those two, and then waited tables, and then I worked for.
So you were just kind of stringing it together
yeah,
with
oh, yeah.
some freelancing here, some waiting
Yeah.
tables there,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Worked for an interior plant company, so I watered people's plants. That was actually fun.
I'm sure you were pretty good at that too. You were very friendly. You know.
Yeah. Then I ran the company for him for a little while, so
Oh, wow.
I did kind of move up in that. So I guess I was kind of setting the stage for
Yeah.
running a company later. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I dig it.
yeah.
Can you ever imagine yourself running more than one business?
Yes, yeah. I would have a retail business
Okay,
and a steak place,
like
and
a steakhouse.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
dig
mean,
it.
you
I dig
know,
it.
We talk about these things.
Yeah, yeah.
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 So importing, exporting, I don't know. You know, it's hard to
All the things.
Yeah, contain
You're
the
a slice
brain.
off of your father in
Yeah,
a significant
Yeah.
measure.
I have to be the
Reel it
voice
in.
of reason sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
with what time will we do that?
Josh
Right.
is the voice of no, and then maybe, and then finally okay. So
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes. So
I dig it.
Sometimes she convinces me. Makes a good argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could
Well,
see
here
that.
you are, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
could still be doing IT hardware stuff
Yeah.
for a small
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
So it
working
goes.
30 hours a week and playing golf
Yeah, he could be doing that
during the
but
day.
Frisbee golf.
I don't miss that at all.
You just need to get so
Working
good
at
at your
home.
your
Yeah.
job that you don't have fires
Yeah.
anymore, and
Yeah.
then you can kind of screw around after 2
Yeah.
p.m. every day.
No,
and
but
just go
he
seriously.
play.
still works it in. Don't worry.
Seriously, I wouldn't trade it. Well, joking aside, I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it for,
That's
cool.
for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I just love beer.
It's been
a fun
fun.
industry, and we love it. I mean, it's I didn't love IT. It was easy for me
Yeah.
in the end, but I didn't love it. But you know the saying, you do what you love. You never work a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
That's
glad you
sort
love
of
it.
true. You still have to
You
work.
still have to work, yeah, to keep
Yeah.
loving it,
Yeah, to
for
keep
sure.
loving it.
Yeah.
So, if you guys were talking to somebody, either or both, that's like an entrepreneurial spirit, like
Yeah.
like you were, Angie, or maybe let's talk to younger versions of yourself, but not you. You know, imagine those 17 or 20 or 24-year-olds that are either itching to be an entrepreneur and get into business, or reluctant to take on that kind of responsibility, maybe. Like, what would you say? And I'll start with you, Angie.
I would say know that it's going to be hard work, but and know what fulfills you. I guess you know if it's money that fulfills you, you got to have the
You might want to go to Facebook and
exactly.
corporate
You're gonna
somewhere
have
or
to
something.
be super smart and come up with a rocket ship that just launches you. Otherwise, know what fulfills you, and if it's creating something and building a home for 20 some employees
Yeah.
that enjoy being around you and you enjoy being around them. If that, is fulfilling to you, then
Yeah.
go for it. But, if you want a flash in the pan, then you got to be,
If you're looking for the easy way,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
isn't it.
no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Josh, what would you share with
I
maybe
would-
that more
yeah.
risk-averse spouse?
I mean, have a vision, agree on your vision, and go for it. But don't, and stay true to that vision.
Yeah.
I mean, have that, stay in that tunnel of that vision, but be willing to make changes as you need.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I've been on lots of seminars about, with brewery wannabe owners, have that vision, but ultimately your customers, your clients are going to make you change. Be willing to change
Yeah,
for
yeah.
them. You might have a vision of what that's going to be, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Well, stay within that framework inside of that tunnel. Just widen that tunnel, and let your customers decide
Yeah,
where
the
that tunnel
marketplace is-
goes. Yeah,
Mr. Market is
don't,
Yeah.
don't-
And be open to learning. I
yeah,
think.
be open to learning and take care of your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of your people. I mean, hire good people. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes you miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes you swing and you miss hard. And
You want to call out anybody by
Yeah.
name on that?
Yeah.
no, no, but it happens.
No.
That's
Yeah.
everybody goes through that. It's not unusual.
Yeah.
But take care of the people that are taking care of you. Hire. I always tell people I try to hire people that are smarter than me. That's not hard to do.
Harder for
But-
Angie.
Yeah, it's way harder for her,
thanks.
but easy for me. Hire people that are smarter than you, and then take care of them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
learn from them.
I agree with that. You saw me grab the fishbowl here because
Yeah.
it's time for the random questions, and we didn't talk about it before you guys came in. But usually we do like a $25 gift card giveaway or something to a winner, and that person writes us with the answer to one of these off the wall questions. So I'm gonna say let's do 2 questions each. We usually do 3 questions for one person, but
Okay.
I don't want to leave us short. So Josh, grab 2 balls out of that kit. I'll tell you the questions after, and Angie, you
Okay.
grab 2.
Good numbers.
And who wants to start?
3.
3. How do you approach work-life balance or integration, or however you'd put it?
My approach is that it's very important. In fact, we tell, new hires all the time, and we practice what we preach. Their work-life balance is very important to us, and there are more important things to us than work.
Yeah.
There's definitely more important things to us than there is, work and business and money, and relationships are more important than that.
Fair enough. Okay. Angie, what number would you like to start with?
14.
14. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your business?
Oh,
That you're aware of.
grief. I think sometimes because I am a person who trusts my gut and makes decisions without a lot of hesitation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I could have spent a
little
little
more
bit
time.
more time
Yeah.
looking at the details and doing the homework on it. So
Okay.
don't be as impulsive as I can be all the time.
Would you like to add some color to that, Josh?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
that was spot
Kind of,
on.
but I'm going to hold off.
Going for honesty here.
Josh, what's your other number?
21.
21. Oh, this is a fun one. What's your death row meal?
Death row meal.
Like you're getting executed at midnight tonight.
Yeah.
6 p.m. rolls around. You can have as many courses, as many options, whatever you want, but it's happening.
Well, yeah, 7-course meal.
At least.
Head of lettuce.
At
and a
11, yeah.
Head of lettuce and a 6-pack.
Not even a mixed 6-pack? You're just going to go straight IPA?
Mixed pack? Yeah, I'll just go. Yeah, mixed pack. Yeah, 6-pack of anything, yeah. So 7-course meal. Uh-huh.
All right.
Head of lettuce,
A
you
6-pack.
know. So it's not too light, so I can drink that whole 6-pack. Mhm.
You might want to get a 12-pack. I mean, you got 6 hours to kill, and you're going to get killed at the
I
end.
guess so.
I'm pretty
I
sure
guess
6
so.
wouldn't be enough for me.
Was there a 13-course meal then?
Yes,
yeah.
we could do that.
Okay.
Angie? 25.
25.
What's one thing on your bucket list that you're determined to accomplish?
Oh, well, I would like to purchase a property in Italy and live there,
No?
at least semi-retire there eventually. So
I like it.
I'm pretty determined to drag Josh kicking and screaming for a few
If
months
we
at
must.
a time. Yep.
Maybe they need a brewery in Italy.
Yeah, I would in a
Then you
heartbeat.
could fly back and forth easy
in a
on the...
heartbeat. A little working farm where he putzes around and makes beers and maybe dabbles in wine, and I
It'll still be.
manage
care
a
of the
little
chickens and the
Airbnb
ducks and the-
or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
it turns
I'll
the
still
barn
dabble
into an
in beer,
Airbnb.
not wine. But I mean, the driving around in a golf cart sounds awesome.
So
Yeah.
why Italy? I've heard you're visiting there,
yeah.
but are you your family from there, or
yep.
you've been there before, or
I'm
both? I
Italian
guess?
by heritage.
Okay.
My family, there's 5 of us that are working on our dual citizenship. So
Oh, wow.
I'm
They're
hoping to
waiting on
have
their
an
passport.
an Italian passport in the next year or so.
Oh wow.
So, and then 2 of my siblings are relocating permanently to Italy.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So it feels like a place I could.
And what part of Italy, if I may?
One of them's in Genoa and the other one's in Sardinia.
Okay.
So not even in the same space.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Interesting. My wife and I are taking in our, I think our 13th exchange student in the fall,
Yeah.
and it's the little sister of a young man we had with us like 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they live in Ravenna,
Oh, yeah.
just south of,
It's on
like
the
an hour
Amalfi.
south of, what's the flooded town up there? Venice.
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 Oh,
Yeah, they're like an hour
okay.
south of
yes,
Venice.
Yes. Okay.
ish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're excited to go visit them someday.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the Italian culture is the exact opposite of my nature, and so I yearn for it.
yeah,
Very
interesting.
considered, very easygoing.
Yeah,
Not rushing around all the time.
It's interesting. You're like an Appalachian girl a little bit, almost in West Virginia, and but you're Italian, and there wasn't that many Italians didn't
No,
move out there, and you're very likely Scotch Irish. It seems like, which is what the Appalachians are.
Irish.
German Irish. Okay, same
Yeah.
difference, kind
Yeah.
of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But your area of origin is filled with people
Yeah.
like Josh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So anyway, some big picture observations. So let's do current events.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you want to do about current events?
Oh.
Anything new in the world right now? Today is March 26.
Oh,
gosh.
yeah. I mean, in our business, the tariffs or
Yeah.
concern.
I wondered
Yeah.
about that.
mean,
Yeah.
You know, we're going to see
Which
where
would be
that kind of goes. It
What?
could
Not
affect
hops, grain?
Cans, aluminum.
Oh,
Aluminum.
aluminum.
It
Okay.
can affect all of those things. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a considerable amount of grain that comes from Canada.
Sure.
It could affect that, but it's metal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of metal in our industry, aluminum, stainless.
Yep.
A lot coming from overseas, so we'll see where that is. You know, I
Oh, I
mean,
can
we
take those balls back.
we
if you want.
yeah, sure.
I
mean,
playing
we-
with the balls on camera. So
Yeah, I
weird.
mean, we there's just metal
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
industry.
Well,
We
and any
need
stainless
metal in
steel, if you want to
anything.
add on to your brew system or whatever,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all mostly
Right.
outsourced now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just kind of seeing where that is, and you know, a lot of small breweries don't have buying power. It's not like we can stock up for a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know I've heard some large breweries that are buying right now to stock up for at least 6 months. on
Interesting.
just at least cans and other stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, for us, and we talk about it a lot in our industry, like when do we price people out of beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
yeah,
high
yeah.
can a pint be? I feel like we're real close.
It
I mean,
feels
how much
like it's getting closer, you know. than
you're
it
gonna
used to be.
pay $10-12 for a pint of Pilsner?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah,
You're gonna price people
can't.
out, and we're right now at that edge of if things get more expensive, much more expensive, then we will be at that point where people are gonna go $10 is too much for
Yeah.
a Pilsner.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
and that could affect it, you know, the
Well, beer
tariffs
is-
and stuff. So
In people's minds, at least, it's supposed to be a more affordable option than
Yeah.
a glass of wine.
Yes.
correct.
And if that changes, then it's tough.
Yeah.
yeah,
so-
because then you figure out, you know, you can figure out the price of an ounce of
For sure.
for bourbon
alcohol,
or beer
whatever,
or
yeah.
whatever alcohol that is, and then you start going, yeah, I'm paying a lot per ounce. Can I afford to do this?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
groceries are up and everything else is up, and so, you know, it's just kind of a wait and see for us as a
Yeah.
small brewery.
Yeah.
Fair
There's-
enough. Were you guys, I guess you were not far from Detroit, so that's probably a normal thing when you first met there, Ohio. And
Actually,
No,
no.
they don't do that
no,
there.
No, in fact, I feel like I never had heard of it before until the last maybe 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So yeah, but it just seemed
You
to
were
kind of blow
traveling,
up.
saw it,
yeah.
and you're like, oh, this is an easy way to make pizza.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
honestly,
Delicious
with
way,
the
yeah.
equipment,
Mm-hmm.
it's both delicious and you get to use those little quarter
Yeah.
pans or whatever, and
Yeah.
it just like goes through the machine,
Yeah.
and it's just easy.
And the kitchen that came with our space is not huge, so it really dictated what we could do with
Yeah,
it.
no fryer, right?
No fryer,
Right.
yeah.
Makes
So,
a difference.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by LoCo Think Tank. LoCo Think Tank provides peer collaboration for business owners. We build smart, safe places to help business leaders navigate every stage of the business journey, and we love what we do and who we do it with. Our model features give-back-minded business veterans in the role of LoCo facilitators, and we're always looking for abundance-minded individuals to add to our membership, facilitator team, LoCo community, or to feature on this podcast. Listeners of this podcast who go on to become members of LoCo Think Tank get their 6th month of membership for free. Just mention the LoCo Experience podcast on your application. To learn more, visit our website at locothinktank.com. That's LOCO thinktank.com.
And I think it's time to go into our closing segment, the LoCo experience. And that's the craziest experience of your life, either individual or together. I don't know if you want to do it. Do you have a shared crazy experience? Or would you like to do individual? We could have a contest of who's got the craziest experience.
It's not opening a new business.
It might be your craziest experience.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Let's do
probably
something a little
together.
more momentary or short
Traveling.
term.
I feel like our lives are pretty calm, but I don't know. We had a rental property that unfortunately a drunk person ran through our back fence
Okay.
into our
Into the
kitchen
kitchen.
and launched
Oh.
their car into our kitchen.
Oh,
That was
damn.
a crazy
Like
experience.
they came through your back fence, across your backyard,
Yes,
and
and our-
lodged the car into the kitchen.
in the middle of winter, our renters had to call us in the middle of the night and
dang.
say, "Hey, there's a car in the kitchen." That was a crazy
pretty crazy.
experience.
What
Yeah.
about what was the one in Portugal? Where we did the sleds, where the guys drive
Oh.
you down on the street sleds
We did
through
toboggans,
Traffic
in
toboggans.
Madeira.
Okay.
Madeira. That's right, on
And
Madeira
you-
Island.
You hop on and you have a guy that hops on with you. So it's Josh and I in in the toboggan, and he's behind, and
On
he
the
steers
street.
us on the
This isn't on
street,
snow or anything like or ice or anything.
and he's
Down
going,
steep hills.
yes, he's
Really?
shooting downhill
Like
at,
this toboggan is like steel on
Right, yeah.
on
On-
concrete.
yes,
And they have these shoes that they wear out rather quickly,
yeah.
I
No
guess,
shit.
and they just put their
Yeah.
feet down.
Yeah.
And they steer you through traffic and around corners, blind corners.
But there's no way to
Just
really stop
downhill.
you to
Yeah.
speak
no,
of.
there's
No,
He
with
needs
their
to put his
feet.
feet down. Yeah.
Right.
It will eventually stop, but you're not stopping quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
And that
Interesting.
was, I mean, you're probably doing what, 50 miles an
Oh,
hour?
yeah. Well, it seemed like it.
I'm
Seemed
sure.
like 50.
1,000 miles per hour.
Oh, no,
I mean, I
it's
did
probably more like 15. but
confront my mortality.
when you're
To
on
you,
a little tiny
Angie, does it
sled.
feel like a closest thing to a near-death experience almost?
Probably. I can't think of anything else that was that, like,
It was
I'm going to
fun, though.
die.
It was fun.
But it was
I
fun.
loved it.
If we could take kind of the, I don't know, maybe I'm just old and I don't get involved anymore, but it feels like the brew fests and all that kind of stuff was such a big deal culturally 10 years ago, and it just isn't so much
It isn't
anymore.
as much anymore. You know, when you talked about current events, I was thinking about how drinking culture's changed and
Yeah.
how our Gen Zs don't drink as much.
Yeah.
And you know, so that has had ramifications. Some of
Sure.
that, you know, crazy beer loving
Yeah.
people that used to come out for anything, we've lost that a little bit. And
Yeah.
I feel like also as an industry, we got a little tired. You know, like always making a new beer and
Right.
a new style,
Right.
and always doing these
Here's
festivals.
another festival. Here's another festival.
Yeah.
Here's another festival.
And I think so. COVID was a little bit of a reset, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh, this is hard sometimes,
Right.
and we're tired a little bit."
And it's not clear
Yeah.
how much benefit we get from
Exactly.
slinging beers all
Right.
weekend long.
Yeah, yeah,
At a
and
beer
it's
fest
the
that
glamour
sometimes
has
was
lost its
giving
shine.
the beer away and
Yeah.
all that, and so
But I think, you know, we talk about this a lot. Fort Collins in particular was just this amazing beer
It was
place.
a mecca of sorts,
yes.
yeah.
And so,
the Napa of
yeah.
beer.
And so now, you know, it's a little
Northern
bit our
Colorado.
responsibility as these smaller breweries to rebuild a little bit of that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Josh is on a panel that's working
Committee.
towards a committee working towards building a Fort Collins Beer Week.
Oh, good.
And
'cause
that
that's
is
lost.
yeah.
And there's another committee that's off of this group of breweries in Fort Collins working on a festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A unique festival. There used to be a festival here in Fort Collins that we were included because I think strictly in Loveland we were included because they needed more breweries. There weren't enough back
Yeah,
then
well, you're part of
to
the
make
OG.
it profitable. And what was that called? It was the Brewers Jamboree.
Yeah.
And it was a festival
yeah.
run by breweries, and it was a unique festival.
Oh yeah,
And then
I actually
eventually
my
we'd have
food
kind of
trailer
money.
was there.
Yeah.
And I
I do
have
remember that,
a
yeah.
Brewers Jamboree glass from Verboten in my
Yeah.
cupboard at home
do
still.
remember
Yeah,
that,
food was
so.
an important part of that
Yep.
beer festival. But yeah, so we're working with other brewery owners to like figure out and
Collins,
Odell and New Belgium to figure out
Right.
you know how to kind of bring some of that enthusiasm back.
Yeah.
Get people, you know.
Good.
And
I
the
think
collaborative nature of
Yeah.
it, and let's get together and have fun, and let's embrace the culture again, and reinvigorate it in a time that it needs
Yeah.
needs a little
a
Yeah.
little-
uplifting.
I would agree. I would agree. Well, may be blessed in that pursuit, you know, of bringing more community
Yeah.
together. That's always a intentional thing. Do you have any questions for me
Oh
after
goodness.
this little session here?
How did we do?
I think you did pretty good.
What
you
is your
seemed like
last
you had a fun
meal?
time.
Death
Oh, my
row
death
meal.
row meal.
Oh yeah.
I don't ask the questions, or I just ask the questions around here. No, honestly, it would probably be like a nice hearty ribeye with a green salad with a bunch of good vegetables on it. You know, heavy on the avocado and the fresh garden tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
And I guess since I'm not as worried about getting fat anymore, I'd probably have a real nice fresh dinner roll, you know, some fresh sourdough
Yep.
loaf, something like that. But I'm pretty simple taste, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Give me a chunk of cow and a chunk of
Yeah.
salad and a little bit of bread.
Sounds perfect.
I like that too. Yeah, that sounds maybe my actual death row meal.
And maybe
Yeah.
maybe like 8 ounces of caviar that I wouldn't even enjoy or care about, just to
Just
fuck
to-
the system a little bit.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, I get
Screw
you
man.
there.
You're putting me to death.
We got to do
Make
a
you pay.
caviar tasting for the first
Really?
Oh, yeah.
time
At a restaurant show.
at a
was
restaurant.
fun.
Yeah, at a
And-
restaurant. It was a car at a
And
restaurant show.
I liked it, and he did not.
No,
Yeah.
that's not
I've
my
tried
thing.
it a couple little times.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it wasn't the best stuff because I'm a pretty poor guy, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't need little slippery things in my mouth.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I don't know.
It was fun.
Wasn't my jam.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. for
And
having us. I
we'll see you
appreciate
next
it.
time, and
Yeah.
I'll see you down at the brewery here and
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Although Susan Kurt will take me care of
Oh, yeah.
me otherwise.
Oh, they will.
All right. Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.